drowning in a sea of SQL Server tasks, simplify your day-to-day administration with these 24 powerful tools. We'll dive into a variety of techniques that will streamline your workflow and boost your productivity. With the backup status, you can get all the information about all your backups. You can either get it for a SQL Server single instance, or you can get a group if you register the servers. In my case, I have 2 different servers that are registered there. You get the status, and then you can have the choices of skip databases that has less than 7 days, skip system databases, even exclude offline databases. Now you can see all the backups that we have done, last full backup, and then database created, and we can see all of the information for all of those backups. You can tell here when a database has never been backed up before. You can also copy all those resources to a clipboard. With the SQL Search tool, you can start looking for information that you have within your database. For example, here I can say the local server, database name, and the search text. Let's say I want to do a couple of databases. I want to do all of the databases, and I want to look for something like royalty. And I'll do the perform search. I'm going to go through all of my databases and one of my instances only, my local instance. Once it does that, it finds a store procedure that has that royalty. Now you can choose also the object types that you want to search and limit that to the number of matches that you want to have. With the object search, you can find objects anywhere. So for example, here my registered servers again, and I want to type commissions. And now it's performing a search on all my databases, my instances that I have, there are 2, and all the databases that I have. You can also limit this to a number of searches that you want to do, and also exclude system objects if you feel like you don't want to see that information as well. The password checker will check the strength of your SQL Server passwords. Again, I can select my registered servers, which are 2 in my group, and then I can take a look at the databases that I want to see. If I want to see some of those passwords and what they have, I can see the list that we have provided for you. You can actually create your own as well. But in this case, I want to do all logins and I want to show the passwords. I want to check those passwords. So you can see here, Ibanez has an X. When I look at all the users that I have in that instance, I can see one here, weak user, it failed. Why did it fail? Because he has a password that is in that list of common passwords. The connection check is an easy way to see problems with connectivity into your instances. Example here, I'm going local, and I can do either the database and the port. In this case, I'm just going to do it through Windows authentication, and I'm going to run all the different tests that I have. Now, if I have a different user, let's say I have a user here in SQL authentication, it's called weak user, and I'm going to provide the password. And then I can run all the tests again. And it fails again because this is a new user. The reason for that is because the password account must be changed. With the multi-query tool, I can execute and manage queries across multiple SQL servers. In this case, I have my 2 instances. I can do the default database, or I can do any database that I want. I'll put here my query and execute that query. And then I will get all the results for both my instances and the databases that I'm using, in this case, healthcare. The database mover utility is great if you want to copy or move a database from one instance to another. It makes it very easy. You can copy or move a database. In this case, I just want to copy that database. And I want to copy from local. I can move it to the same server, or I can move it to a different server. And I want to keep this name. I click next. I can copy the transaction logs again if I want to, and then it would tell me where you want to keep all those files, and then I can start copying that information with the credentials that I supply. Another great tool is the login copy. This will copy server logins from one server to another. Similar to what we saw earlier with the database mover, in this case you're copying those users. So for example, I can go here to a destination, and I can preview the missing logins. So maybe I want to have that copy, and then I can copy that login to the new destination. The user clone is a great utility to use an existing user as a template and then create a new one. For example, I'm going to go here to my users, and I'm going to select the user that I want, in this case, a SQL Server user, SQL DM, and then I'm going to create it locally, but I'm going to create SQL DM2. I'm going to clone the user, and the clone is completed. Job Mover is very similar to the database mover. You can select whether you want to copy or move jobs. In this case, I want to copy jobs. I'd say from the local to my other instance. And then I tell it which one do I want to do. In this case, I want to do this one right here. And then I finish, and I can copy that to the new server. With the job editor, you can view and edit jobs across multiple SQL servers. In this case, I have my registered servers, and then I can get the job information. I can select the job that I want to update, and then I can change the new values, whether it's going to be enable, it's going to be in a category from a new owner, and the notifications that I want to do. With the quick reindex, you can review fragmentation levels and rebuild the indexes in your SQL servers. In this case, I'm going to the local instance, and I'm going to do all the databases. I'm going to check here, analyze index fragmentation when loading index statistics. So I'm going to do that now. And also, I can exclude indexes that are very, very tiny, 2 pages, or I can put whatever threshold I want here. Hide, disable indexes as well. Now, if you go here, you can see the index and the fragmentation that you have. You can right-click on it, and then you can either analyze it. In this case, we already did. And then you can reorganize or rebuild indexes. Server configuration will allow you to compare and update server configurations in one or more SQL servers. For example, here I got registered servers, which in this case is 2 instances. I can get the configuration of those 2, and then I can see the comparison of those. I can hide the differences or fix the differences if I want to. So in this case, anything that's different, I can hide it, or I can see the difference, and then I can also use a baseline to fix the difference. Database configuration is the same logic as server configuration, but for databases. Compare and update the configuration for one or more databases. Here, I got my registered servers. I'm going to get the configuration. And then I'm going to choose the database that I want to add to the comparison report. In this case, I want to add, let's say I want to add financial records. And then I'm going to have financial records here as well. And now I can go to the comparison and see the differences if I have any, and I can fix the differences the same way we did it earlier with server configuration. With Partition Generator, you can examine existing partitions and generate new partitions as well. Again, I'm going to my local server, get information, and then from here I can choose a database, and then I can create any new partitions that I want. With the connection string generator, you can create connection strings easily by picking and choosing from the available options. For example, I can go here to the server that I want to do, the port number, or I can do the default application name. I'm going to leave it like that with Windows authentication, and I'm going to test the connection for that. It passed, it had no problems. Now I'm going to select another port number and test that connection. In this case, I get an error because it's not actually the port number that I have there on that instance. What if I use a different user? Again, the user cannot be validated because the password must be changed. You can also play with the connection pooling, so you can change the max pool size, min pool size, and the connection lifetime. Inventory reporting will list and report on important computer and SQL Server configuration information. In this case, I'm also doing registered servers, which are going to be my 2 instances. I'm going to load the data for both of them. And now I got Ibanez and Taylor, both data for those 2 instances. I can see here all of the information for those 2 servers. With the patch analyzer, you can find out SQL servers are up to date and what are the latest available patches. For example, I can go here to my register servers or my local server, load version information, and I can update even the build list to see if everything is in compliance. I can view available updates and also view Microsoft Knowledge Base articles. With the Index Analyzer, you can view and analyze statistics for your columns and indexes. I can load all the statistics either from a database or all the databases, and then I can go and take a look at the information for each of those databases and their indexes. I can see the index usefulness, updates to total access. I can see information about fill factor, if it's enabled, if it's cluster or not. Then I can also do update statistics using sampling or using a full scan. And finally, I can also copy results to the clipboard. With the Space Analyzer, you can analyze the space usage of your SQL Server. Here, I'm doing local, low space statistics, and then you can see all the information about your C drive, in my case, number of database files, disk use, and what is used by the database files. With the server statistics, I can see information about my SQL servers as far as statistics and counts. My local server, I can view statistics, and I can see the number of databases that I have, the state, the compatibility level, tables, stored procedures, and I can sort if I want by size. So I can see my biggest database that I have. I can also go to logins and then other objects as well. And finally, if you want to continuously monitor the status and availability of your SQL servers, you can use a server ping. Here you can add a server. You can text the connection. And then you can tell if you want to perform a status check every 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you want, and then check servers now. If you want, you can minimize this window, and it will continue doing that ping every 10 minutes. Hopefully, you can see value on these 24 tools that can simplify your day-to-day activities that you do within SQL Server. Thank you.